Jackson defensively will put it on them.
How about the keys for winning for Texas Southern?
Simply, Charlie, they have to keep Jackson State University offense off the field. They have to hold Jackson State to under at least 21 points and contain Jackson State's offense under 300 yards.
And you talk about holding them under 21 points. When they score 30 points or better, they come out victorious, and they haven't lost in quite a few years in scoring 30 or more points. As far as Jackson State is concerned, as I said, they need only a tie tonight against Texas Southern to clinch, or I should say a win tonight would clinch at least a tie for the Southwestern Athletic Conference title. And of course, they have another date in 2 weeks against Alcorn, and they can wrap it up. Of course, W.C. Gordon, notorious for being a winner, and you can't remember when he's had a losing season.
Certainly can, Charlie. He's the winningest coach in Jackson State's history, and he'd like to keep that tradition going on tonight.
They have the #1 ranked scoring offense in the nation in Division I AA, and one of the reasons is their quarterback, Shawn Gregory.
It certainly is, Charlie. Last season in 1989, Shawn Gregory had the best season of any quarterback to ever play at Jackson State University. He threw for 162 completion over about 305 attempts, and he accounted for over 2,500 yards in passing, and he's accounted for 24 touchdowns. He's the man to watch tonight.
And 157 yards tonight would give him 6,000 career passing yards. And one of the men, when they're not throwing the ball, that he likes to hand the ball off to is the leading rusher on this team, James Johnson.
James Johnson had a tremendous season last year in 1989. He was coming off the bench last season as a reserve returner as well as running back. He's got things in high gear. He's the man for Jackson this season.
One of the key stalwarts as far as the defense is concerned is Charles Davis, 7.5 sacks coming into today's game.
The sack master, Charlie, and he looked forward to putting a whole lot of pressure tonight on the starting quarterback, Stacy Moore, for Texas Southern University. He's a great ball player. He has all the tools. He's looking to make professional ball one day.
Well, you talk about their defensive secondary. Coach feels that they're a Jekyll and Hyde defense. They will intercept passes, and they will play good defense, but then another time they'll give up a lot of yards as far as passing is concerned and as far as touchdowns is concerned. But they have 17 interceptions. They have run 6 back for touchdowns. This young man, Robert Turner, has 7. He's run 2 back for a score.
He's a man defensively, Charlie. He's a big playmaker in the secondary. As you mentioned, he's got 2 pickoffs, and he's taken them to the deep 6. This young man, Charlie, he played his high school ball. He was a quarterback and defensive back at Port Gibson High in Port Gibson, Mississippi. And Port Gibson is the city too beautiful to burn.
All right, how about the keys to winning for Jackson State?
Again, Charlie, Jackson State has to play good pass defense. They have to have a whole lot of people up front rushing to give the people in the secondary a chance to cover as well as pick balls off. They have to establish a great running game in order for the passing game to go, and their kicking game must be excellent.
They have 2 good kickers, one in Yossi, who's the field goal kicker, and the other one in McRae, their punter. I don't have to ask you who you like. It's homecoming. You're a Jackson State graduate, so we know who you're rooting for.
I'm ready to jump out of the booth, Charlie, I tell you.
All right, it should be a whale of a ball game here in Jackson, Mississippi. It's homecoming 1990, Jackson State and Texas Southern. And we'll be back with the opening kickoff in just a moment. Today's game is being brought to you by Amtrak, with over 500 destinations nationwide for you to choose from. And by Budweiser, beach would age for that clean, crisp taste. This Bud's for you. Nothing beats it. The cold. The king of beers.
Nothing beats the Bud. Nothing beats the king of beers. Nothing beats the Budweiser.
First views of America. Whether you travel in any one region or 2 regions, or all 3 regions of the country. Amtrak's All Aboard America fares. Take up to 45 days, take 3 stopovers, and take your camera.
All aboard Amtrak.
Jackson State will receive the opening kickoff. #1, Shawn Gregory just finished warming up on the sideline. The deep man, Reggie McGee, averaging 22.8 yards per kickoff return. Jamal Robinson, number 84, freshman out of Orange, Texas, will be kicking off for Texas Southern, as Jackson will be moving from right to left.
One of Jackson's keys to winning was improve on the special team. They got a chance off the bat to do
Reggie
that.
McGee at the 23.
There's a wall, Charlie.
He has some running room at the 32. He is knocked down on a good tackle by number 60 of Texas Southern. That's Derek Cherry on the stop defensively on the special teams. Paul Holly's our referee. Bill Davis, the umpire. Claude McKinney, the line judge. Paul Green, the back judge. Mark Gray, the linesman. And Willie Mitchell, the field judge. A 9-yard return out to the 32-yard line is Shawn Gregory, who has all kinds of records here at Jackson State, will go to work offensively at quarterback for the Tigers of Jackson State. This is his offensive line. Heavy D in the boys. Davidson, Lockridge, and Davis are the D buddies. Parrish and Holmes, the tackles. Heath, Barnett, and Smith are the receivers. In the backfield, he'll have Staten, number 33, and James Johnson at the tailback. And now, all of a sudden, right off the bat, first play, Jackson State calls a timeout.
That's unusual twist.
Before the first play is run. Of course, maybe the 25-second clock was going down on him. There's W.C. Gordon, head coach, 14th year, 112 wins, 41 losses, 5 ties, 72% winning percentage.
It's hard to beat.
That's right. Ranked number 3 among active coaches in 1AA in winning percentage. Number 1 in Jackson State history. 6-time SWAC Coach of the Year. First down and 10. The up man is Staten. Now they split the backs behind him. Johnson and Staten. Staten on the left, Johnson on the right. First and 10. In fact, we'll talk about Highsmith and his defense as Gregory back to pass on first down. Overthrown, intended for Heath, the tight end.
Tell you what, the ball floated. Again, if Doug would have been here, he'd have talked about the techniques of Shawn Gregory releasing the ball. And nose sort of up there as your starting lineup, Charlie.
For defense for Jackson State, they had started the season playing a 3-4, but the devastation to the linebackers as far as injuries is concerned has forced them to go to a 4-3 defense with Green, Johnson, that is Texas Southern, and the defensive backs Glenn, Daggs, Maxwell, and Randall. Back to pass on second down. The second pass is complete to Barnett. Make that Jimmy Smith, far sideline, and he's got about 8-9 yards. Well, he has the first down. Correction, he's down at about the 47-yard line. A gain of about 13 on the play. Jimmy Smith coming up with his 31st reception of the year. And finally bringing down was Randall. Defensively, 15 yards officially on the play. As you look at Coach Highsmith on the far sideline in his second year as head coach of Texas Southern.
Shawn needs 157 games for another record to be 6,000, huh?
157 yards, that's all he needs. He has a whole lot of other things he can do tonight, too. Believe me. Here's a quick hitch out to Barnett. Barnett eludes one tackler and has another first down into Texas Southern territory at the 43-yard line. So Texas Southern finding themselves being pushed back early by way of the pass. They have not run the ball at all.
Good play action fake here from Shawn Gregory. Hits Barnett out on the left side. Barnett eludes a few would-be tacklers. Evasive enough to gain the first down, as you mentioned, inside of Texas Southern's territory.
Jimmy Smith out wide to the right, Barnett to the left. Johnson on the carry. First carry of the ball game for Jackson State. He gets to the 40, a gain of 2, where it'll be second down and 8. James Johnson, second leading rusher in the conference, 4th in scoring with 54 points. In fact, he was the number 3 rusher on the team a year ago as Jackson and Daggs made the stop. 450, 60 yards a year ago rushing. Came into the game with 9 touchdowns. Second and 8, Jackson State. Gregory again going to the air.
Drop screen.
Looks like he wants to screen it. He has it complete. And falling down after a good run and after making the reception for Jackson State is Chad Riley.
He ran into his own blocker there, Charlie. Mr. Thomas there. Carl Thomas. Good screen here. Good job. You could tell it's going to be something deep. About a 12-step drop by quarterback Shawn Gregory. Outlet pass, screen. Here it is.
Certainly did run into his own man, but it's a first down at the 30-yard line of Texas Southern. Jackson State came into the game averaging 37 points a game. They've scored most of their points in the first half. This time they give it to Staten, and Staten still on his feet, bounces outside, inside the 25 to to the 24-yard line goes Robert Staten, sophomore, out of Shibuya, Mississippi. Whitman High.
That's a sexy name.
Shibuya.
Yes. Here it is. Good blocking up front at the point of attack. Now watch. 4 would-be tacklers. He keeps his legs turning, tries to maintain those shoulders parallel to the line of scrimmage. As a result, on an individual effort, he picks up 6 yards.
Cedric Maxwell on the stop defensively. There's this Mr. Staten, 2nd down and 4. Back to on the draw play. They keep it on the ground. And a 1st down from James Johnson. Johnson came into the game averaging 6.2 yards per carry. 696 yards. Carrying the ball about 15 times a game. Jackson State is averaging 39 running plays and 31 pass plays a game.
Pretty balanced. They have a real balanced team. Coach Gardner, along with his assistant coaches, has done an outstanding job over the years.
Staten. Jackson State. Staten, 19 yards on the run. So for Staten, his 2nd rushing touchdown this year. For Jackson State, their 18th. On for the point after, Ayoze, who has not missed one in his college career. He has had 1 block. Ayoze, the kick is up, and it is good. He is 37 of 38, leads the team in scoring this year, and it's 7-0 with 11:15 remaining in the 1st quarter.
Outstanding run here. You know, this man has got a whole lot of sugar in his shoes. Just a tremendous run here. He smells the goal line and is not going to be denied. In for the first 6 of the evening.
68-yard drive. We'll be back, and it's 7-0. Jackson State.
To the good life.
To live the good life, you have to pay the price. The average new car costs over $15,000. But there's a motor oil that can protect your investment under extreme conditions when conventional oils won't. Mobil One. Isn't your car worth the extra protection?
To the good life.
Protect the environment. Take your used motor oil to an approved used oil collection center.
Somewhere in the middle of nowhere, America's #1 author just met his #1 fan.
I think old Sheldon might be in some kind of trouble.
Don't even think about anybody coming for you.
Directed by Rob Reiner. From the novel by Stephen King.
Trust me, it's for the best.
Misery, rated R. Starts Friday, November 30th at select theaters.
Ayoze gets some good blocking up front from Heavy D and the boys, and look at him go through that hole, Lem.
No question, Charlie. He's got to give a lot of credit to Davison, Lockridge, Davis, Parrish, Holmes. Outstanding job. Virtually untouched as he gets it into the end zone. Excellent scamper.
Ike Ayoze, 30 years of age, has a degree in criminal justice, working on his master's in public policy administration to kick it off.
It's a deep.
At the goal line.
Special teams.
Nothing doing. Brian Wiggins smothered. Or was that? No, that was Kerry Henderson on the return. Out to the 23-yard, make that the 18-yard line. That's where they'll mark the ball, and that's where Texas Southern will go to work. 1st down and 10 at their own 18. As you look at the last scoring drive, 19-yard run by State, the PAT good. 8 plays, 68 yards, 3:45 off the clock.
Pretty good balanced attack there, and he mixed it up both well with the run and the pass, Charlie, completing all of his passes and finally getting an end zone by a 19-yard scamper by Staten.
Stacy Moore. Now Texas Southern repeats. They call a timeout on their first possession. The clock was going down on them to about 2 seconds. So Stacy Moore, rather than suffering the 5-yard penalty, decides to spend a timeout here. Texas Southern, Walter Highsmith, 7-12-1 in the 2nd year. They started the season with 4 straight wins, beating Hampton, Sam Houston Southern, and Alabama State. And then losing to Arkansas Pine Bluff, Alcorn, Southwest Texas State, Mississippi Valley, and Grambling.
I guess Stacy tried moonlight over Jackson.
And look at the temperature, 67 degrees, a gorgeous night here in Jackson, partly cloudy and virtually no wind.
Hi, Poopy.
It is first down and 10 at the 19 for Texas Southern. Their first offensive possession of the evening, and they're trailing by a score of 7-0. Timothy Jackson, the lone setback. In motion is Cravey. And he gives off to Jackson, who bounces outside and across the 20 to the 21, a gain of 2. As we look at the starting lineup for Texas Southern, Stacy Moore, the stats on him: 10 interceptions, 10 touchdowns. His longest pass, 70 yards. He has been sacked 4 times this year. His offensive line averages 280 with 3 seniors, 4 juniors, 3 sophomores, and a freshman in the offensive alignment. The receivers, Will Moore, Brian Wiggins, Curtis Neal is the tight end. He also does the punting. And in the backfield, Kerry Henderson and Stacy Moore, along with Tim Jackson. Now the clock is down to 5 seconds. They better hurry. They may get a penalty here.
And should. Clock has run out of time.
They certainly have. They are going to get a delay of game.
I'm not trying to officiate up here, but I mean, I saw the clock strike 0.
Stacy Moore was talking to our referee, Paul Holly, and that took up some time. As you look at Jackson State's defense, the defensive line averages 265. Elsie Moore, Chris Gale, and Charles Davis. They're the linebackers, Straughter, Busby, and Derek Young. And then the secondary with Morehouse, Tart, Knott, and Turner. Morehouse has 4 interceptions. Tart has 1 sack. Knott has 2 interceptions. And 2 touchdowns. And Turner, 7 interceptions with a pair of touchdowns. They waved off the flag. So they were not penalized. It'll be 2nd and 8. Here's a pass out the flat, incomplete, intended for the tight end, Curtis Neal. And covering on the near sideline was the linebacker Lloyd Straughter, the junior out of Belzoni, Mississippi. And it falls incomplete.
Tell you what, Charlie, we talked with Coach